Hi. Work-life balance. Everyone would like to have a perfect work-life balance. But recently it hit me actually that work-life balance is totally bullshit, and if you still believe in that, then you need to catch up. Sorry. The idea of having a perfect balance is everywhere, not only in work-life balance, but everywhere, that you just need to find your rhythm. You need to just adjust your schedule, build a routine, build habits, constantly work for it, and then it's going to get easier and you will feel like, oh, I'm in the balance. And the bullshit about this idea is that, first of all, nothing is perfect. And second of all, life is much more complex than just having a balance between certain aspects. Sooner or later, something will go wrong and then you will be thrown out of your balance. And then what? This is also a balance, but just a different one. And the problem with work-life balance is that it is not something that is one size fits all. And as everything in life, and I love saying that, nothing is black and white and life is much more complex. So if something is working for you, might not be working for someone else. And for certain people, work-life balance is actually working 24/7 and sometimes having holidays or time off. Or maybe not even have time off at all because they love their job. But this is their life. And if they're okay with that, and if they don't see side effects and it motivates them, then who we are there to judge them. So today we're going to be breaking down this topic about work-life balance and why something that is working for you might not be working for someone else. And there is no point to argue what's the right amount of working and lifing and everything in between. We'll dive into what science says about it, and I'll bring up some tips how to figure out what's the perfect proportion between working and lifing for you and only you, so you can find out your balance. But before we dive into it, for anyone new here, I'm Justina. I'm an occupational psychologist and empowerment coach, and I love optimization and fulfillment. That's basically it. So my mission is to spread my knowledge and my expertise and my passion for everyone, so then they can live their fulfilled and satisfying life, and then everyone can be happy and kind to one another. Simple. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel to spread the positive message around. Okay, let's go. You've probably heard it hundreds of times. Find a work-life balance and then you will be fine, you will be actually happy and you will be fulfilled and everything will be easy then. But actually, research from occupational psychology suggests otherwise. Balance isn't always about equal parts. It's about bringing things that are meaningful to you in the proportions that are beneficial for you. And whatever matters to you, it matters to you in this season of life. So for instance, right now I'm in my 20s and whatever is meaningful to me is connection with people, connection to nature and kindness and peace. But back in the days when I was younger, when I was studying, it was more about just meeting anyone, just inspiring strangers on the street and partying and having just fun and being hungry for knowledge. I feel like I still have some components of that, but the focus is definitely in a different place right now. And we all have those seasons. I can't tell you how long they last. It really depends on your preferences and on what stage of life you are. You might be just focusing on simple short-term pleasure. Sometimes people might be investing in their future and buying a house and focusing on family or friends more, or on traveling. It's really, really individual. So maybe right now you're building a career and focusing more on work, and later on you want to focus more on personal relationships. Or perhaps your idea of balance is achieving a personal growth outside of work. You want something more, something different, and you want to stay in the job you have, even though you might be not amazingly fulfilling, but you still want to have time for hobbies and develop those hobbies. Or maybe whatever you're missing or you're feeling like you're missing are romantic relationships or more friends or just more traveling and discovering the world. There are so many aspects of life and so many different seasons you can be in. That whatever works for you now, it might not work for you later. And for instance, if my education and my personal growth and connections with inspiring strangers was focus for me back in the days, right now my focus is different because I grew, I changed the environment, I want to prioritize something else because I've worked on one aspect of my life before and now I want to work on another. So as you see, whatever works for me right now might not work for me later or earlier, and also might not work for you. So the balance doesn't really exist. It's just more shifting your priorities depending on your season of life. And you might be wondering why life is just not much easier, why we just cannot decide on one thing, make a perfect balance and then stick to it to the rest of our lives. Well, maybe we all wish it was this way, but we all know that life is definitely not this way. And if you're wondering why we all have different balance and why they keep on changing, it's because of, again, your biology and psychology. A study shows that unique personalities, life goals, environment, and even genetics can shape everything. How we handle the stress, but also what brings us motivation and what brings us satisfaction. So whatever motivates me or inspires me or satisfies me, it might not necessarily do the same to you. For example, extroverted people might thrive in roles that requires a lot of social connections, going out there, doing presentations, talking to a lot of people, while more introverted people might just prefer alone time, doing things in smaller, closer groups, or just hiding somewhere in the basement like IT specialists. So work-life balance is such a subjective area that I just hate talking about it as a balance. And to even confuse you more, even if you are extroverted or even if you are introverted, you're definitely not one or another. Nothing is black and white and nothing is that simple. For instance, I would call myself more introverted, but there are times where I really enjoy hanging out in a big group of people, doing presentations, doing workshops. That really recharges me and that really brings me a lot of passion and energy. But there are the times where I just love time alone or just meeting my family or my close friends and avoiding everyone else and avoiding unnecessary social interactions. Whereas my partner, for example, I would call him more extroverted and he seems to be really enjoying spending time with other people, and I feel like he could just be hanging out with other people, like total even strangers, for hours or for days, but he really also appreciates the moments when there's only two of us or he just has his alone time and he can just do his stuff, because at the end of the day, we need to have alone time and just function as separate human beings. So let's make it personal to you, how we can figure out what your balance would look like. First, you need to ask yourself what areas of life you want to develop right now. Maybe it's health, maybe it's family, maybe it's creativity, maybe it's sport, maybe it's professional development. I personally cannot live without personal development, and even if I don't develop necessarily in my workplace, because let's say I know my role and I just do everything automatically, I still find an opportunity to develop personally in some other way, like researching ingredients of sunscreens to find out which ones are toxic, and I can really go into a rabbit hole with those and research all ingredients for days. So even though I might not be learning something professionally related, I feel like I still learn something, and as long as I learn something, like even one random fact, like the difference between latte and latte macchiato, I feel like it's a good day. And I'm happy with myself, and this is what drives me because it's my personal development. It doesn't matter in what area it is. But on the other hand, my partner values peace. So whenever he has nothing to do or a lot of time to do absolutely nothing with no responsibilities, and hopefully and preferably as long as he can, then that is a good day for him. So whatever matters to you and whatever makes your day great is definitely totally different what would make my day great or my partner's day. But if you prioritize what truly matters to you in this season of life, in this moment of life, and align your actions with your values and priorities for this moment, you will build a great sense of purpose and fulfillment, because you will know the end goal and you will know that whatever you're doing every single day brings you closer to that super meaningful goal for you for now. And later on, you need to review your goals and priorities depending on the season of your life. For instance, this year I had so many movings, I was starting a new job, and for example, my YouTube got a little bit out of my priorities. I had to focus on other things, and I didn't blame myself. I was not mad at myself that I need to put certain things on the side because I can have it all and I can do it all, but not everything at once. I did understand that there are other priorities that are more important to me, and I need to put more energy and my time to those aspects of life, and the other things needed to wait. But right now, where I'm entering a different season of life, I can bring other aspects to my life back or just reshift how I'm managing my time and my energy. When you're creating your work-life, let's say, balance or distribution, remember about not comparing yourself to others. Okay, comparison is unavoidable. We have it in our genes. We cannot do anything about it. We will still look at our neighbors and compare. But you need to understand that comparison is really misleading. It's not only not beneficial for you because it brings dissatisfaction, you get unmotivated and you want more and more and more because other people have more, so you want it too. But comparison is really misleading because we try to copy someone else's balance, thinking that, wow, they have everything figured out. If they have it figured out and you see them so happy and fulfilled and just on top of the things, you want to copy their strategy. And okay, that strategy might actually work, but it doesn't mean that you will be happy with it and you will be happy with the life that you created based on that strategy. So focusing on your specific and personal goals is the key for you to be actually fulfilled and happy with the plan that you created. Okay, so after all this talk, let's get practical. Here are some back science tips and steps how to create your balance or work-life distribution that will work for you. First, you need to set boundaries. Not only the boundaries with other people, so then they can understand what you like, what you don't like, what you respect, what you find disrespectful, so then they're not going to push you left and right and take your time and energy like it's a limitless resource. But also you need to set your own boundaries with yourself. You cannot focus on everything at the same time. You will be spreading yourself too thin, and then at the end of the day, you will be just burned out and so frustrated that nothing is moving forward because you cannot direct your energy into 500 different directions and then expect that everything will work out. You will probably be burned out sooner than you will achieve one of those 500 goals. So instead, you need to be just really clear with yourself. What's the focus on now? And try to stick to it. Try to remember that this is your focus. Understand that later on you can come back to other priorities or aspects of your life. But if you decide that from now I focus on health and this is the most important thing for me for this season of life, you do absolutely everything to focus on this now. And if you have some spare time and energy and the rest is going well and everything else is on track, then okay, you can decide that my secondary goal is this. So whenever I have energy, time and resources for it, I can also implement certain steps to achieve the other goals connected with my other priority. The second step would be experimenting with your schedule. I cannot tell you if you should be starting your day at 5 a.m. or maybe starting your day at 2 p.m. I know people like this and they absolutely love it. Or maybe you should be going to sleep at 1 a.m. and have like 1 hour nap and then waking up in the middle of the night. I know that nowadays people try to experiment with the nighttime routine. Don't ask me why, and don't ask me if this works. You just need to experiment it yourself and whatever schedule works for you. So if you prefer to work out earlier in the day or later in the day, or sleep in the middle of the night, or maybe sleep in the naps during the day. Maybe you have a nighttime job, which doesn't really allow you to sleep during the night. So you need to experiment with your schedule and discover what feels right to you, what makes you feel the most energized, the most motivated, and actually makes you the most productive, the most efficient, and getting you closer to the goals you set yourself up for. And the third step is to reflect regularly. While the season of your life is changing, you need to check in with yourself if stuff are working actually the way you want it, if there are some things that you need to tweak or maybe adjust, or maybe you're entering into some kind of different season of life and you need to basically throw your old plan away and create a new one. I know a number of people who set their goals in a yearly matter, and sometimes their year is all about saving for a new house. And in that moment, they work really, really hard, really, really intense, but they know that once the year is over, they can focus on something else. So this is something not long term, but at the same time gives them such a big motivation because they know that soon is going to end. This thing is going to end and they will achieve the goal that they wanted. So it's all worth it at the end. But this approach might not be for you if you prefer to introduce all the aspects of your life at the same time and just have a little bit of that, a little bit of this at the same time and just go through life this way. You might maybe adjust your deadlines for the goals because they might take a little bit longer than maybe focusing on one thing at a time very intensively. But if this is the approach that you prefer, then who we are to judge? And that will be all for today. So next time when somebody asks you or maybe talks about work-life balance, remember that there is never such thing as perfect something, especially work-life balance. Whatever works for you doesn't work for someone else. So if they tell you that you're working too much, you're exercising too much, you're sleeping too much, you're eating too much, you're whatever, too much or too little, or you're too ambitious or you're too lazy, remember that whatever works for you doesn't need to work for them. So they just don't get you. Everyone's balance looks different, and that's the beauty of us, that we are so complex. We are not black and white. We are 500 different shades of gray. And that's why life is so interesting. But let me know in the comments down below what your right balance look like. I would love to hear your thoughts so that we can maybe inspire one another. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel not to miss my next video about how to live your life on your own terms. And I'll see you in the next video.